if you're planning a trip to Vegas, start 4 or 5 weeks out before you want to go. That way you can kind of let Las Vegas start to shake itself back out, get back to the regular routine that Las Vegas needs to be in. More shows will be open that you can go to. More clubs will be open if that's your thing. Hey, what is up everybody? Just a little disclaimer before you get too far into this video. I'm sitting down and recording, and I just wanted to let you know this is just an update on what's going on in Vegas. It's going to be a lot of me just talking and kind of filling you in. There isn't a whole lot of visuals to look at, so feel free just to minimize me and listen to my beautiful voice in the background. And hey, come out to Vegas. Come. Anyway, here we go. What is up, folks? How have you been? I am Terry, the creator with Quasi-quirky Creations, and I am bringing you another Las Vegas episode. This time, this is kind of an impromptu video. Originally, I had planned, which is the reason I've been gone for so long, paralysis by analysis, you know what I mean. Originally, I had planned a 4-part series on Las Vegas and what to expect now that everything is going to be opening on June 1st. That's Tuesday. Restaurants are going to go back to 100%. Hotels are going to go back to 100%. If you want to see a show, though, a lot of those are going to be remain closed for a period of time. But I was doing some preparation for that series, and I found some juicy stuff. Now, before I get into that stuff, I just want to tell you guys a little bit about what happened to Las Vegas with the lockdowns. Now, before the lockdown, many of the resorts on the Strip, and I know this because I worked for one of them at the time prior to lockdowns, and there were big announcements about huge renovations that were happening to majority of the casinos underneath that company's umbrella. But in order for that to happen, there has to be revenue. Money has to come in so money can go out. Lockdowns happened, so all of those plans got put on hold. We need people to come in for those businesses to survive, including all of the resorts on the Strip, meaning that a lot of the casinos couldn't do renovations. Now, if you take MGM, for example, they have a pretty great board of directors, as well as casino CEOs. A lot of them took massive pay cuts just to keep people employed and keep the casino open and, you know, keep things moving, so that way the revival, we'll say, wouldn't be so difficult. When you go to a tourist city, you are going to experience things like lines, higher prices. Some things may be dirty. Oh, here we go. Okay. So, the suite looked beautiful and it was super spacious. Unfortunately, everything was a bit dirty and, again, super dusty. It's a desert. We're literally in a desert. At this point, I was just ready to get the vacation started and decided to wipe everything down with my Clorox wipe. The tub really needed to be resurfaced. It was so bad, I didn't use it because it looked gross. There was mold on the side of the shower. The big complaint about dust in Las Vegas, I can tell you right now, that you can dust a thing, turn around to dust a different thing, and then turn back around, and whatever you just dusted will be dusty again. There is dust everywhere. It's in the air all of the time. Everything's dusty all of the time. You cannot escape it. You cannot escape it. It's a desert. We're literally in a desert. Okay? So if you find dust in your rooms, if you come here and visit, which you're more than welcome to, please come and visit Las Vegas, and you find dust in your room, just know that room was probably clean and somebody hasn't been in it. And then the dust just fell out of the air and it got onto the furniture. They're not cleaning the room right before you go into it. You guys know how hotels work. I'm sure most of you are adults watching this. You've stayed in a hotel before. You understand how housekeeping works. They clean it, and then, you know, housekeeping leaves at 4, and that room may not get rented, I guess, or purchased, borrowed. I don't know. Maybe 3, 4, 5 days, could be weeks. And that's how a lot of the hotels, or a lot of the rooms in these resort casinos worked, is that as the lockdown was sweeping through, they were going through and they were doing deep cleans. They were actually sealing off rooms. So that room could have been cleaned 8 months ago and then sealed, and just nobody stayed in it. Now, she has a picture, which I'm going to share. There you go. And something that you guys need to know about the Las Vegas Valley is that the water here has a huge amount of lime in it. There's a huge amount of lime in it. That's not mold. That's just lime from water that dried inside the shower. It's not mold. You can even report it, and that's be fine. And maybe they'll just take care of it and not, call you any names. From someone out of Kansas. This place is a literal dump, and the hotel management doesn't care. Booked a room in the Royal Tower because it was the most updated, with quotes. Not sure what updates they're talking about, because this hotel is straight out of 1990. That's when it was built. Yes, the Excalibur was built in 1990. Red stains on the carpet. The chair looked like you could pick up. I'm not going to read that. The wallpaper was peeling, mold and filth. Okay. So pretty much the same thing that the other person was saying about the Caesar's Palace. And this goes back to what I was saying. A lot of these things, the Excalibur was included in that and still is. Like, these renovations are still going to happen. They're just on a much longer timeline now that casinos were forced to shut down for a year. As lockdown continued, a lot of the employees, as most businesses across the country, a lot of the employees at the resorts got laid off. So they were down to like 5 or 6 actual staff members for the entire casino and a couple security guards. Now, a lot of those people haven't been able to return to work. I know that in the last 2 weeks, MGM tried to do a huge job fair. They did a huge push to get as many employees back as fast as possible, but you're still going to have training for a lot of those new people, so you're just going to have to bear with that. And that's why I wanted to make this series, to tell you guys that if you're planning a trip to Vegas, start 4 or 5 weeks out before you want to go. That way you can kind of let Las Vegas start to shake itself back out, get back to the regular routine that Las Vegas needs to be in. More shows will be open that you can go to. More clubs will be open if that's your thing. If you like the Cirque shows, you can expect Mystere at the Treasure Island. Yeah, Mystere's at Treasure Island. That will be opening the end of June, and O will be opening the beginning of July. O is at Bellagio. That's the water show. And then they're going to trickle open as things get rolling again. Cirque du Soleil is a huge business, huge production. It takes a lot to get the balls rolling on those again. There are shows open, however, and if you want to get one of those, I suggest you do proper prior planning and buy your tickets way in advance. So if you have never been on vacation before and you are surprised at lines, a lot of people want to come back to Vegas, especially people out of California, Arizona, New Mexico, Idaho, the states surrounding Nevada. We get a lot of company, even from just northern Nevada. We'll have people coming down from Reno, Lake Tahoe, a lot of people coming down from that way to do their party thing and get the Vegas experience. But there are a lot of the hotels that have resort pools there. And this is actually going to be a pretty hot year. May was already a bit hotter at some points than it should have been, and people were surprised at 3 or 4 hour waits for the lines. Now, people that are posting these reviews about hour-long waits for lines to get to pools before June 1st, they were still required to have reduced capacity, and you can stay at the pool, I think, as long as you want. Now, I don't go to those pools because I live here and I just go to the lake or something, but you have to understand that if people want to be at the pool, they're going to be at the pool, and if they got there before you got to wait until they leave. Now, after June 1st, when things start to get back rolling and occupancy of things goes up, you will actually probably experience less wait time than you did, or this person did. Occupancy restrictions were still in place. Also, keep in mind, there's a lot of stuff to do in Las Vegas. If you want to go to a pool and you're having a hard time getting into a pool that's at your resort, you can Uber over to Green Valley. There's a Green Valley resort that has a pretty nice pool there too, and it sees a lot less traffic because it's an off-the-strip resort. There's also the station casinos that you can look into, visiting those or staying at those if you want to get that kind of experience. So just keep that stuff in mind when you guys are coming out here. Higher prices. Now, it should be no surprise, just like lines, that if you're going on vacation and you're going to a tourist town, that prices are going to be like, kind of airport pricing. It's the candy bar is $3 instead of $1.20 that you would get at your gas station. And I did talk about in my scams video convenience fees. Now, a lot of these restaurants are going to be trying to recoup as much costs as they can from the lockdown restricted. They were still dealing with the same occupancy restrictions and the same things that everybody else was dealing with. So be aware of that. Like, if you want to eat at a celebrity restaurant, be aware that you're probably going to get hit with like a 10 or 15% convenience fee. And that is solely so that the restaurant can get going again. So it can hire that chef that I'm talking about and, get people back in there working and providing a really great product. Will these go away? I don't know. I have seen some recent articles about resort fees, and there's some legal stuff that's happening with that. But that's another thing too, that if you guys are coming out and you're looking for a resort and you're going through a third party, I always suggest people be very cautious when using third party websites to book anything, because some of those can even be scams, depending on who you go through. I've always used Kayak for my third party stuff, flights, taxis, cars, hotels, and I've never had a problem with them. But just keep in mind that could happen. And the reason that I bring up the third parties is that anytime you book on a third party, they're actually going to have the resort fee listed on the hotel page, or like before you complete your booking. So just make sure you guys are reading the fine print for where you're staying. There are some hotels that do not charge a convenience fee. I don't have the list off the top of my head, but if you guys want to search that, go ahead and search it. As far as higher prices, other places, you're probably going to see, if you're not like a regular here, just be aware that there's probably going to be price hikes here and there, so that businesses and restaurants can start recouping some of the funds that they lost over the lockdown. So be prepared for that. And maybe that's another reason to wait just a little bit longer before you come out here, is that some of those things might go away. Some of these legal cases might get finalized, and resort fees will be thrown out the window. Convenience fees might get checked, or might just get dropped off if people are getting back in line. Crowds. If you are supremely cautious about everything COVID, just be aware. If you, it's honor system. There's no legal grounds for the mask on, mask off thing, especially with the widespread of vaccines and how easy vaccines are to get now. So just be aware of yourself. Take care of yourself. If you're going to a crowd and you might be a little suspicious, or you're worried about catching something, anything, could be the flu, could be the coof, could be the, whatever. Just keep in mind that there are going to be crowds here. I was down on the strip 2 days ago, and it's filling up. People are back on the strip. People are back walking. The street performers are back out. They are showing their stuff, and they're ready to take all of your money. So keep in mind, you don't have to pay them. And honestly, if you want to get a picture with something that looks famous, go to one of the events, like the Hunger Games challenge thing. There's one for the Avengers, but there's actual like more legit looking fictional people than what you're going to find on the strip. There's going to be the Vegas series coming out. I'm going to do the 5 best resorts. That's not like the 1 through 5 of Las Vegas. It's going to be the best resorts from their category, like family friendly, adult, off strip, historic, stuff like that. I'm also going to do off strip food that a lot of people don't know about, haven't heard about. There is some amazing independent restaurants and food trucks throughout Las Vegas. It's food that you really need to try because these people pour their heart and soul into these things. So that will be one. We're going to do a deep dive on the Fremont Street experience, because that is just something. It really is something, especially if you're not into the whole overly crowded strip scene. Fremont does get crowded, but it is its own experience. It's got a lot of alternate experiences around it as well. So I'm going to go over those, and then it will be off strip experiences that you guys can go out and you can see and you can hang out and you know, you can have a different kind of Vegas experience than the clubbing and whatever else happens on the strip. After that, I have another feature mini film coming. It is coming. I lost access to the content, so I'm hoping to get that back soonish. And then I can get that one pumped out, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it. I learned a lot in the last mini feature, but that will be coming soon. Also, ghost towns. If you guys liked those, I've got 2 big ones that I'm working on. One is on private property with fully intact buildings, and it housed a cult. So I'm trying to contact the owners to see if me and Dum Dum can go stay on the property for a couple days and get a good deep dive into what's up there, what it looks like, what people may have been doing. And another one is just out in the middle of nowhere, you know where ghost towns are. Anyway, that's it for today. You guys know what to do. You know what I like. They're down here. I don't have to say it. There's an animation. Like, come on. Anyway, cheers, everybody. I really appreciate you hanging out. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Stay healthy.